Hey Scorpio, this is your monthly tarot reading. So we are looking at the month of October 2023 for Scorpio rising or sun signs. We are back to our regularly scheduled videos and I am so stoked to be caught up. So nice. So thank you guys for your patience last month with all the family stuff that I had going on. I really do appreciate it. So these are of the readings that I put out monthly. These are the longer readings. So they go approximately 15-ish minutes long on average. If you want something that's more like short and sweet, you will want to take a look at the bi-weekly videos, and those go from new to full moon and full to new moon. I just put out the last one on the 29th of September, which goes till I believe the 14th of October. So those are approximately like 5-ish on average. So you can check those out as well. So happy to be back with you guys on a normal schedule. Ooh, you guys are the third ones to have the Tower card showing up in the middle of the month, which I think is pretty interesting because, again, I'm not going to get into the astrology, but, you know, when we come into the beginning of October, we're kind of like looking down the barrel and we're going, oh, okay, here comes eclipse season. So it's interesting because I'm wondering if this is like, that could be a part of like leading up to that. So if you want to get a better sense of what that is for you, like I said, you'll want to check out the astrological highlights video. So feeling that for the challenge. And let's check out what kind of spiritual advice we have coming through for you. And I felt two actually, so we're going to go with that. Okay. All right, Scorpio. So I just thought, like, I would think a Scorpio, somebody who really feels aligned with their scorpionic part of their chart, would probably really dig this deck, but also it just felt really like the season to have this out. So when we're looking at this collective reading, I use astrological house cards to determine like the lens that we're going to put this all through, like focus on what area of life this is really speaking to. If while I'm reading this, you're just like, oh man, I feel like this is actually really related to this other area of my life, go with that, because this is a collective reading. So, you know, it's not obviously going to be like a personal one-to-one reading. If you want to know specifically for you what's up, that's where you want a one-to-one reading. And that's where I would recommend, you know, booking either with me or someone else. If you book with me, definitely check out the description box down below so that you can do that. But that's what I suggest if you want real specifics. Now, with collective readings, I watch other tarot readers for, you know, collective readings, and you just got to know, like, some months it's your message and some months it's not. So if this is your rising sign, go check out your sun sign, see if that resonates more. So, all right, without further ado, let's get into it. So we have the 5th house showing up for you. So this is the house of, I mean, it's my favorite house. It's actually pleasure, sex, casual dating, is also children. So if you're a parent, perhaps this has to do with children, or even if you're not a parent, it could be like that you're around children, teach children, work with children, inspired by children. Creativity as well. So like it says passion on this card at the bottom there, and I think that speaks to creativity as well as like some of the pleasure, fun having type stuff I was talking about. It's definitely my favorite house. Anyone who knows me knows that that is like totally my favorite house. So anyhow, that's what we're looking at this through, is through that lens. Now, obviously creativity could be something that comes through in various ways. This can be whether you are an actual, like an artist of some sort and you work in a certain kind of medium, if you create content that's creative, if you write, if you know, if you design airplanes, like whatever it is, like there are many forms of creativity. So let's like keep that in mind, that can be really broad. So we start out the beginning of the month and we have the, let me just tell you. So we've got the beginning of the month with a 3 of Cups. We have the Tower card, and then we have the Magician showing up at the end. I really love that we end on the Magician, especially having that Tower card right there in the center. The challenge card is going to be the 8 of Cups, and then we have the Hermit and the Ace of Wands showing up for your advice, for your spiritual guidance or advice, however you like to look at that. So I start out with the 3 of Cups. You know, I think that in the beginning of this month, I'm going to say this for two different ways. So for some of you who are single or in open relationships, perhaps, this is like you may have different options, different interests. You may be having a good time with multiple people and dating different kind of people, right? Because we are talking about this as part of the, it could be one of the things that is applicable to you. If you're in a committed relationship, okay, different way to interpret this, right? Like the Three of Cups either way is this really celebratory kind of energy, right? It's this gathering with people that is like good music, good libations, like good food, good, like just celebrating life, enjoying life, coming together with other people in that way, right? Can it involve like another person? Yeah, it can, who knows? There could be like a couple of you out there who are in committed monogamous type relationship, and you find yourself really being pulled to open the relationship in some way. And so perhaps this is also mimicking that or showing that. Now, that all said, speaking away from just relationships and looking at like creativity and gathering and all of these different things, perhaps this is about you being in community with other creative types of people, right? And feeling inspired by that and bringing that forward. So in the beginning of the month, it feels definitely lighter. Maybe some of you are actually having gatherings. I'm not really sure. And then we come into the middle of the month and we have the Tower card. And I know that it's kind of like nobody really wants to see the Tower card in their reading for obvious reasons. It can feel challenging to, come face to face with what isn't working. And I think that ultimately that is one of the things that the Tower card is here to show us. It's like, hey, this isn't sustainable. Whatever foundation or whatever structure you were building, it wasn't going to like stand the test of time. It wasn't going to be able to weather the elements, right? Like some of this needs to be demolished and go back to the drawing board, or all of it needs to be demolished and we just start from a brand new foundation, right? And so when the Tower card comes through, we make it worse by holding on and gripping and resisting what is clearly not working, right? And so again, I want to encourage us to use our intelligence when we are assessing what we need to let go of, and what's worth fighting for. Because there are certain things in this life that are worth fighting for, but we need to make intelligent choices about what those things are. Look at your creative projects, look at perhaps your children or your sex life, your dating life, whatever it is that you're looking at here, and consider what have you been kind of like smashing your head up against the wall with? And it's just like, no matter what you do, no matter which way you turn things, it's just not really working. Those things you need to just let them wash away and come out on the other side. Because in the last part of the month, I think, remember that. I know it's a total cliche, right? Like we clear out things to create space for other things to come in, but it's true. There's a reason why it's said so often, is because often we need to declutter our life, declutter our internal spaces, declutter our minds in order to allow new ideas or new feelings or new inspirations, new passions, new creativity, new things to flow in and come through. And sometimes we can't get that download, we can't get that inspiration unless we have gotten rid of some of the gunk, like cleared house, like gotten rid of some of the mess, right? And so sometimes that has to happen. And if we don't do it proactively, I'm not saying it's 100% of the time, but often when we don't do it proactively, the universe is like, I'm gonna do it for you. You weren't listening, so I'm gonna do it for you. Believe me, as somebody who is like, can be really hard-headed, the universe has often had to like give me a smackdown, and I'm familiar with this energy. So we come into the last part of the month and we have the Magician card showing up. I really love this for you because this is a card of materializing that which you want to like bring into form, right? Another way of saying that, which is like the overused way, is like manifesting, right? But this is like really taking what it is that you want to create in this world, right? Now that certain things have been washed away, now that you're back to the drawing board, now that you can create again, right? Here you are at this place where it's like, okay, so what do you want to create? What do you want to bring into physical form? What do you want to take out of the realm of creative ideas and bring into physical form? Like as one example, right? Again, you make this make sense for your particular life and your situations, right? The Magician also says that you have all of the elements necessary that you need to create things. You might feel after certain things have been like ushered out that you're at a loss, or you're lacking things that you need. It's like, oh, I needed that, like, or that's gone, or now I don't have certain tools or things that I wanted in order to be able to blah, 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 right? But the Magician card comes in and says like, hey, you actually have everything that you need in order to create what it is that you want to create. So look at your life, notice and appreciate the resources that you actually do have. All of those things are workable. You can work with what you have to create what it is that you want. And that's the bookmark that you're left off with before we move into the next month, right? The challenge that will be coming up is like, obviously we deal with multiple challenges in a month, but the one that feels most prominent that you're going to be running up against is the 8 of Cups, right? There's certain things that just feel like they have been weighing you down emotionally, spiritually. It feels too heavy, and you just got to let that shit go. You got to like, you're going to feel like maybe some resistance, or maybe not even resistance, just like feeling scared, or like not wanting to, just period, wanting to walk away from certain kinds of situations that have been really feeling like they've depressed you. Not just the feeling of being depressed, but I mean like when you actually depress something, right? So that feeling and needing to free yourself up from that and go on, maybe it's a solo journey. Maybe you need to go on a solo journey. Maybe you need to go on a solo plant medicine journey. Maybe you need to go on a solo spiritual journey. Maybe you just need to like take a trip away for the weekend to get some space and time to yourself and like let the heaviness go and get re-inspired, get reconnected to your passions, get reconnected to your creativity and your passions and your sense of fun and pleasure. Like, where did that person go? If you haven't been connected to that, what is the heaviness weighing you down, and what can you do about it? And don't say nothing, and don't say like, well, because like, don't start justifying like, oh, well, because I'm like a parent, or because I'm this, or because I'm that, or because of my job, or because of blah. Like, I know that we can be in situations that make it extremely challenging for us to like move away from heaviness and to open up into lightness and play and fun, especially when we've been in that state for a while. I get that. Believe me, after the month that I just went through, I really do get that. And also what I know is that sometimes that's a season, and it's not our entire life. And we need to remember that we need to start, like, as much as possible, as quickly as possible, move towards that lighter hearted, lighter feeling in life, that place where we can remember what joy and pleasure and fun feels like. Remember the good orgasms, the good sex, like remember these things. Like, what is heavy, what is weighing you down, that is going to come up in the process and feel like it's part of the challenge that you're experiencing, and perhaps that's really connected into that middle part of the month right there, right? So part of this also is saying that you need to take some time to do this inner work and ask yourself the big picture questions. Immediately, I felt like some resistance in that. And I don't know, whoever might be watching this, somebody might be just being, I don't want to. Like, I get that. Sometimes I don't want to either. But like sitting down and facing and asking ourselves, right, like what it is that you want, what's still aligned with you now, especially with this tower, right? It's like, what do I really want my life to look and feel like? We can set ourselves on this path and like have a trajectory that is just like on auto mode, right? We're just like, we're doing things to move towards a goal that we had, or certain goals that we had for a life that we were building. And we haven't stopped to assess in a really long time about whether that's even what we want anymore, whether that even feels good to us anymore. And maybe perhaps we have a partner or like other people in our lives that we feel like it would affect them if we were to say like, hey, you know what? I realize I don't kind of want to work towards that goal anymore. I want something different. And yeah, maybe that shakes things up, but you got to ask yourself, is that the way you want to live your life? Do you want to end up at the end of your life and just be like, I lived it for someone else and I was too afraid to say things and have difficult conversations or to disappoint anyone in order to be happy, to feel alive in life, right? So you want to be asking yourself these questions. Sometimes it's really helpful to go to other people for counsel that you can trust, but also remembering, like with the Hermit card, is like this light, this internal light, you have that. You have a guiding light inside of you. And in order to be in touch with that and to really be able to utilize that, you have to stop and ask yourself these questions periodically. And this is a time during this month where you're going to be asked to do this. And so your spiritual advice is coming through and saying, hey, do that. Ask yourself, how do I want to feel? You know, what do I want my day-to-day life to feel like? What do I want my overall life to feel like? What do I want my life to look like? Am I working towards things that still matter to me, or are some of those things outdated and do I need to update them? What conversations might I need to have? Like, really do that internal introspection. It's really going to be helpful because the Ace of Wands is also showing up here, right? The Ace of Wands is that spark. It's that spark of like what gets you lit up, your creativity, passion, sex, flirtatiousness, right? It's like all of this really like fiery energy. It's a spark for life. And so there is this like, hey, remember what that feels like? Again, that's the message I keep getting here is like, do you remember what that feels like, Scorpio? If you have been disconnected from that, this is what you're being asked to focus on. This is only going to benefit your life. I mean, like, why not, right? Like, what harm could really come from you embracing more of these things in your life and trying to build more of a life that has you feel more pleasure, more fun, more lightness, more sexiness, more all of this, right? More passion, more creativity, more fire, more lit up. Why not, right? So I'm feeling that fire. I'm saying like that energy is definitely coming through. Again, I would check out the astrological highlights video so that you can kind of get a sense of like, what is the flow that's going through this month and put this into that context. Definitely check out also the smaller videos too, if you want to get like some, you know, I put those out so that you have these bite-sized like little guidance pieces to go through these, you know, the waxing phase of the moon and then the waning phase of the moon so that we can really have that extra guidance. So check that out as well. If this was helpful, please consider giving the video a like. It does really, really help as I'm trying to build this channel. And also if you haven't subscribed, why not do that and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of these videos and all of the ones that I have planned on the horizon. I have some new stuff planned. I'm doing some planning in the background. With the holidays coming up, I'm not sure that I can get it out before the end of the year, but there's going to be some new stuff that's going to be rolling out too. So don't want you to miss that. All right. Thanks for your time. Thanks for being here. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.